Oh, we got Steve. Welcome, Steve. I kind of want to get back to the basics, and I don't mind some of you because I've been seeing a lot of posts in the insider group that reinforces that we need to get back to the basics. So a lot of you, whether it's the ad performance you're struggling with, or just simply getting replies with your leads, we need to really work on what that looks like. The personification of that, both on the automations, the text messaging, the emails, and then what you're sending and how many touch points you are. And then realistically speaking, when you're going to get your first transaction, and it's going to change for everybody. It's going to be different for everybody. But if you're struggling with something, we need to work on that. We need to address that. So, Wendy, why don't I call on you to start? For those who are kind of brand new into this, and they're kind of just trying to gauge how to make this work. Well, where would you begin? Like, what would be the focus? Because a lot of people are wondering, like, with the home value, do you just give it away, or then it just becomes crickets? How is it that you create this conversation around their home value without giving too much of your time away?
Right. So I just do a really quick CMA in the MLS, and then I pull it up on Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com because they're always so far apart. And yeah, I don't go too much into details about their house because I don't really know anything about their house until I get there. So I just kind of tell them, what I see online and then what I see on the MLS. But in order to get a true value, I would need to actually see your home, see what kind of updates you did to it, what you haven't did to it, and go from there. So it's just a really quick video. I try to keep it under 60 seconds because the BombBomb will say how long your video is. And if it says play 5-minute video, nobody has time to watch 5-minute video. So quicker is better, and it gets the point across. And my calendar link is below for them to just book right there for whatever time's a good time.
Wait, so Wendy, just to be clear here, you're not actually giving them a valuation. You're telling them, hey, this is what the internet thinks your house is worth. If you want to know what I actually think, we have to meet. Otherwise, I can't help you.
Right. No, I'm telling them what the internet's saying because obviously that's what they're seeing. And then I pull up a CMA from the MLS, and because we do.
Oh, so you are actually giving them a valuation.
Yes, but
Got it.
They know that it's just numbers. In order to get a true value of their home, I would actually need to see their home. So I have Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, and so basically I just say, hey, I got your home value, request through my Facebook link. Make sure you say Facebook link because they're not going to know what you're talking about when you say, online. And then just say, so I pulled it up on Redfin, and this is what they're saying it's worth. And Zillow thinks it's worth this, and Realtor.com thinks it's worth this. So it's like so ridiculous because Realtor.com is usually about $50,000 over than anybody else. And so then I say, as you can see, online values are all over the place. So I like to dive right into the MLS and look at similar square footage. Also, a 2-car garage with a pool, single story in your area, and they're ranging from here to here. But in order to find a true value of your home, I would actually need to see your home. And then I just say,
Wendy, I have a question for you. With that system in place, how many have you converted?
Yeah, see, and that's the funny part. I think of money, how much money I've made based on what I've spent. So yes, I only converted about 7, but when you're talking, making $60,000 as opposed to spending $25,000, it's a good, investment for me, and it worked. I'm having conversations with a ton of different people though. They're just not ready yet. So
I'm just asking because I don't go the full step that you do. I stop at just giving them the comparisons of Zillow, Redfin, Tulia, whatever, homes.com or whatever's in my area. And then I let them know that they can access me either video or written. If they want a true valuation, I really need to see the property. But I was just curious because you're spending time on doing a CMA. So there's times that we forget that that time is valuable.
I actually pay someone to do those.
Cool.
Sorry, just to
Give
be
me your
honest, I don't
contact or
have
his
time.
contact.
I'm in Las Vegas. Our market is crazy. So, I have time to make the videos.
So I
So
think the better
basically,
question is how many people are you actually responding to before, meaning how many leads are you in touch with before you get somebody who is like, hey, let's meet, and then actually convert that person into a listing, because that sort of gives a better idea of,
a lot.
Oh.
So I don't know how much is in my StreetText. I'm thinking like 2,500 leads since last November.
Whoa, really?
Since last
2,500?
November. Yeah. So.
Wow.
So, but I'm having conversations with a lot of people that are going to be ready soon. We have them on HomeBot. They're, going back and forth, asking questions, which is good, and we're staying in touch with them. But actual sales has only been 7. But still, I mean, 7 times $9,000 is doing pretty good. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
we're still making a lot more than what I'm spending.
So Wendy, when you do that 60-second or less video, are you sharing all that information that you were just discussing as far as, what you're presenting to them? Do you show them all that within that 60 or second? Okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't take very long because I do have someone doing the CMAs, which is huge because when you have 10 to 20 videos to make, like doing the CMA also just takes some time. So you can teach, anybody exactly how you want them. And then, so basically I just go through all my emails that she sends me, cause she sends the postcards out to the address only, and then she'll do the CMA for the other ones and send it to me. So then I just go in and it says StreetText lead on my email. I pull that up, I pull up, I already have the Redfin Zillow Realtor.com pulled up. I just plug in all the addresses, open that up, and do a screen share through BombBomb. So it doesn't take very long once you have your system in place.
Hey, Wendy, as far as your, oh, sorry.
No, sorry. I have a question, and this is to the whole group. Does anybody use a virtual assistant for this? No. Okay.
I have a call center that makes my calls because the famous calling is important, and so for them to do that, but they're calling a volume 2 because like Wendy, I've got probably about 3,000, but the bottom line behind it, from even like what Wendy said, is a touch. I don't send, like I've been letting Julie go, but the biggest thing is to get the touch out there. I send something straight out to MLS. I call it market snapshot. I don't. I was sending the other thing before with Zillow and all that there. I'll go in a reference. I use Bing because Bing will give me all the, players on one browser. So I've got realtor.com and Zillow and all that, but I'll say, hey, John, here's a market snapshot for your area. And I send it straight out of the MLS. One of the biggest ideas always pull them away from Zillow, realtor.com and all that. I don't want them looking on that. So you've got the MLS, and I always say, use the tools you have. So when I have a hit on that and they come through, my call center does call, and they initially set the appointment, and then I'll call them to confirm it. But starting out just as a one-person operation, once Julie comes through and you've got some kind of activity, send them a snapshot out of the MLS or whatever you want to do. Big thing is the touch. And then the biggest thing is always the follow-up, because we let it go. And then for some of us that's been there for a while, I've been rebooting myself. I got hacked by Facebook, which is a bad thing, but I'm gonna make a good thing out of bad because I've re-engaged with every person in there. And the realization is, check your campaigns. They always talk about tweaking them, but number one, make sure you got a campaign running, because if you only ran a 90-day, or say you ran a 6-month, you're sitting here, crickets and web, spider webs all around you. It's Halloween coming, but you're not trying to get spider webs like that. Make sure you have that campaign coming, because if you're not getting something out to them, you're not going to get a result. And some of you that are wondering, why is nothing happening? Go check your campaigns and make sure they're getting something.
Thank you, Leon.
Leon, what do you mean by campaign? Are you saying, are you talking about the automatic follow-up built into StreetText? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. We sit there, like Marcus said, to take this down to ground zero and basics. most people, StreetText is your launch pad. That's what's getting the things out. And so when someone says they're
How
not,
many people have listed with you because of your follow-up as opposed to just initial contact?
say that one more time.
How many people have listed with you because you followed up with them? Meaning StreetText leads.
4.
4. Okay. So are you doing it? Is it through email or is it using Julie?
Okay, so started with Julie to get the touch. I use Lion Desk because I've got a lot of volume. I send out by email. And what I like about Lion Desk is that, I've had some of this stuff so long, I'm grandfathered to it. So I like the fact that I have mobile apps. The automation is important, but my thing is no matter where I'm coming from, the follow-up has to be there. I had sat there and been running StreetText. I went away and came back. Second time I came back, I went in there and looked and realized I was running like a 90-day campaign. And I'm like, oh, this is killing me. Because then when we say your productivity time is important. If you don't have an assistant, you are one. So when you go in there and look right off the bat, have a campaign running because, you hear it all the time.
You're saying 90 days is not enough. You have to have it quicker.
No, longer. 90 days is not enough.
Okay. You're talking about, the length of, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, if you turn around and look, it takes you 90 days to get a result. Whatever you do, try it at least 90 days. But the thing is, if I had to turn around and go in here every 90 days and reset something, I would never get out of there. So when you're looking at how you lighten your workload, but improve it, I don't run nothing less than 6 months. And then
wait, so are you talking those listings that you got? Are those are email follow-up or phone numbers? You actually got them on the phone?
Both. I mean,
Okay.
just straight out StreetText. It started out with the initial emails coming back and forth. I sent them an initial, hey, here you go. This is the latest snapshot. I said, here's a snapshot of your area. And I sent out the MLS because that's in real time. And then just doing the follow-up to them. So the phone call led to something. I got an appointment Thursday. The lady sat there and goes, well, hey, can we just talk? Because we were texting and emailing back and forth. I said, absolutely. I called her up. I'm going to go show her a house on Thursday that she already picked out she wants to buy because I had been sending her stuff. She went on our website, looked at it. And then I'm going to go back to her house from there and do a walkthrough for a listing. And the lady doesn't have to sell her house to buy the other one. But had I not been doing the follow-up, I wouldn't have had it. And like I was saying, the thing is with a 6-month campaign, as you go in there and you're always looking and tweaking, things stop. But why not set for the long-term goal than the short-term? Because I mean, if you get like imagine if Wendy had to go in every 90 days and change the campaign or do something to follow up. That would just be brutal. And so it's like, why not come out the gate with 6 months set to begin with? And then
so you're using Lion Desk to do that follow-up. You're not using StreetText email system.
No, Julie is running 6 months. But then what I do is I do lift the people over into Lion Desk because I'm sending them other additional follow-ups and things like that.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
So,
Okay.
Solomon, let me be clear on something. Your first impression is the most important. So your drip email campaign, your SMS, all that doesn't matter if it's not emotionally tying into them. If they don't know who you are and how they make you feel and you have an authentic connection with them, it doesn't matter what you have there. It's not going to automatically just connect as an HTML-based text. What makes everybody successful is layering that over and over again. So they get to know you, they get to trust you. Like it doesn't just happen that way. Even if you look at the way Wendy sets up her automation, it begins from the very beginning with this type of connection, really looking to connect on Facebook. And then there is her personal connection where she's going to be doing the screen recording style of a CMA. And then she's going back into the personal connection with the day 4. And she's got the personal connection layered in day 6 and day 9 and day 12. And, if she's doing anything like Jennifer Salter as well, she's constantly checking back in personally as well every quarter, looking to have a connection. So it's not just like this automation is going to do the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's straight up winning friends and influencing people 101. Like you got to stay connected, you got to personify it, and it's not just going to automatically book you an appointment. Like you have to make them feel like you're in it for them individually. It's not an automated service that all of a sudden you start getting a bunch of listings. Anybody who's been successful with StreetText, it's constantly going after it. There's multiple touch points. There's multiple personal touch points. There's no system out there, no CRM out there that will just crush it for you. you're your own CRM, and the way you personally respond to these people and continually to check in is how you create them, create that value and that trust in that relationship. Because, a lot of the times with the top of funnel lead, it's just not, they're not ready. They're interested, they're curious, but it could be a year from now before they're actually ready to do anything for that matter. And if you're not willing to invest in that time, some other realtor will get to them. And it happens.
Well, I think the follow-up built into StreetText is fantastic for people who I don't have their phone numbers for, because frankly, if they're not going to engage with me, at least I have an automatic system going out to them. I'm wondering though, is there a way to tweak the StreetEasy system where the leads that I'm getting are people if they're not going to give me their phone number, I'm not going to pay for that lead, because I don't want leads that are just emails. Even Wendy, who's telling us, it's working, which it does work. She has to go through over 350 leads before she gets a listing. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to pay for ads for 350 leads.
Welcome to real estate. Welcome to real estate.
Yeah, not what you make, what we make. We make really good money. So it's worth it.
You cannot even try, like, if you're tracking it on just transactional, how about all the conversations she's created? How about all the relationships that will like double end because of it?
Right, but is there a way to do it where I just get I'm paying for leads where I'm getting their phone number?
Go to Zillow.
Now, Zalman, if I could, Logan and I were online yesterday and had this very same discussion, because while I don't completely agree with you, it would certainly simplify the process if we could capture phone numbers as a point of contact. So I think Logan, I don't know if he's going to take it to the next step that we discussed, but creating a custom ad that encourages them to text you, and by texting you, you are capturing their phone number with their address for that market evaluation, seems to check a couple of boxes right off the bat.
So
Yeah,
we can do that.
We could do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can set your pixel. You can set your pixel to only fire when you get a phone number. You can do that. You can set up a lead.
Well, where do I do that?
But here's the thing, Zalman. You're going to be paying a lot more money for those phone numbers. And Facebook's not going to have clarity around who's converting, because so few people will be converting for their algorithm to work that you're actually going to be throttling the number of phone numbers that you get. So in other words, if you run an ad where you only pixeling for the phone number, you're going to get less phone numbers than if you run an ad that pixels for everybody, because Facebook doesn't know the behavioral metrics to see who's converting and who's not. So the way Facebook works is, the fact is you've got an offer that is going to, like, anybody that owns a home is interested in your offer. That's so powerful. You're building a database of people that own homes. Think about that. Like, if you're really, like, we got to move from a transactional mindset to a relational mindset. That's the key. And you have to think long-term. And that's what Leon was saying, is like, don't think 3 months, don't think 6 months, don't think 9 months, don't think 1 year, don't think 2 years, just think long-term. So the more people that you put into your funnel, you're getting leads for a ridiculously low cost. I mean, like, it's insane how cheap it is. I mean, just a few years ago, you'd have to run ads on newspapers for like $500 to advertise an open house. That would last for a couple days. Maybe one person would see it and show up, never hear a phone call. You wouldn't hear a person. Like, you're getting in front of people before they're raising their hands. The hardest thing right now, and this is the trick, is like, how are you listing homes when they're turning over so fast? How are you getting in front of people that are ready to buy or sell before anyone else? Well, this is the way, but the secret is that you have to put into that long-term nurturing process. And email is like, you own that. Like, when you collect an email address, nobody filters that for you. You don't have to go, like, like Twitter changed their algorithm so you don't get, everybody sees your Twitter anymore. YouTube changed their algorithm, so even if you have a subscriber, they're not likely to see your video anymore. Facebook changed their algorithm, so if you have a Facebook page and you make a post, people following your page. When you have the email address and you press send, it goes to 100% of people that are subscribed to you.
Listen, I'm using the StreetText system. It's working for me. I just had a meeting with somebody. I'm trying to tweak it so it works better. I feel like if I'm sending out emails, it's going to spam. I get emails from people who work at StreetText and they go straight to spam. they're in my email system. So I have a hard time with emails. That's why I'm trying to do it where I'm going with phone numbers. If you're telling me if you only do phone numbers, it's not going to work with
Where are
Facebook
you sending
because
it from
the system
for your email? Where are you sending it from? Like how are you creating the
Gmail.
tracking behind it? So have you thought about, so do you use BombBomb?
Yeah.
So have you thought about tracking it from BombBomb and sending it from BombBomb?
No, I haven't done that.
Because that seems to be the solution for most
A
people.
lot of my, I send it through Follow Up Boss and BombBomb, and I get more opens through BombBomb, but I send it through both anyway, just in case. So sometimes Follow Up Boss gets through, sometimes BombBomb gets through, and then I set a reminder to see if it was open. So like the next day I look to see if it was open, see if my video was played. If not, then I stalk them on Facebook. On my BombBomb video though, when you do it, you can add a little link there, and I just say chat with me on Messenger, and I have it linked to my Messenger because I actually really want to connect with them.
Call to action. Call to action is always back to Facebook. If you can connect with them there, that's the end game.
Well, yeah, I appreciate all the input. Thanks so much.
And one thing to keep in mind, that going back to the old days when we did Google AdWords and stuff like that, like I'm brand new to the StreetText model. I just came off my free trial, and I guess I'm loving it. Thank you for putting this thing together because it brings back leads. And I've only been a referral agent for the last 10 years. But what I used to do and what I'm going to start doing again is offering out to all the people who come into StreetText to me free seminars, how to prep your home for sale, how to do this, how to do that, bring in local experts, bring in renovators. And in the COVID era, I'm going to do this over Zoom. I know that the buy-in for people to take webinars over Zoom is dramatically higher than expecting them to take an hour out of their life on a Wednesday night when they have activities. They can sit outside of the kids' soccer game and do a Zoom meeting. You get so many people buying into a Zoom meeting, and with that Zoom meeting, that's where you get their phone numbers if you don't already have it, right? That's you're providing that value and getting the permission for that next piece of information. What I've always believed is that you have to earn that information from them. They're going to give you what they want in the beginning, and then you have to go out and give them value to earn the additional information. So the first webinar I'm going to do is how to set up your home office in COVID, right? We're coming into winter here where we are, and that means ain't nobody going to be outside for the next 6 months. People need to set up their home office in such a way that it's going to be effective. And I'm going to bring in a home stager and an office person I know that her job is to set up offices for executives. She's going to give me half an hour of her time, and we're going to set up how to get the perfect home Zoom meeting or Zoom meeting office in your house, and get all of these people who've signed up to StreetText to come on them. And to go on that meeting though, I'm going to need phone numbers, right? That's that added value. That's the trade that's going to happen. And then I'm going to be able to text them from there. But I'm not expecting I'm going to get everything I want the first go around. I might have to offer it a few different things of value before I get that information from them.
And real quick, one thing I really wanted to add here that I think is incredibly important is that, again, each and every person here is unique. And we as coaches here have a slightly different perspective because we're helping so many people, and we've seen the same things play out time after time after time. And again, it starts with the old map image, right? Almost every single realtor that I speak to at the very beginning says, oh my goodness, that sucks. That's never going to work. I hate it. I'm never going to use this. And we, in a sense, have to save them from themselves and explain, okay, it works. Let's try it. And I do believe the same thing can be said with the address onlys and emails and all that. And my own perspective and the coaches here, it's inconsequential as to how it pertains to each of you directly. If you want more phone numbers, it doesn't matter who else says, okay, that's not going to work, that you can't do it that way. We need to help you. And that's kind of what Jeff was mentioning as well. On my custom ad class, bring your unique perspective, bring what you want to do. And we know that having a more open field, allowing people to leave address onlys, we feel is more cost effective and more likely to work based on what we see. But that doesn't matter if that's not what you're looking for. If you want something different, if you want, to test something that you feel is going to bring more phone numbers, we need to test that. And we need to keep trying these different things. There's no reason to put things in a box and say, this is the only thing that works. And again, these mastermind meetings are eye-opening in that you see all the time, I would never have thought to do that, but it's working for somebody. So again, that's why I think that, Jeff and I had a great conversation yesterday on my custom ad class about getting people to text them. Maybe the way that we were first thinking of how to do that wasn't going to exactly be perfect, but we're working down a pathway that hopefully the more people come and bring their own unique perspective, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm trying to accomplish, I just don't know how to do it yet. We have enough smart minds on that topic, and we come up with something that everybody's going to benefit from. So again, my personal perspective is that the standard ads, getting an address only, allowing people to leave what information they want, it works. And that feels to me like it works the best. But I'm really interested to start testing and trying some of these other things that can also work. So I certainly don't say that we can't do ads that focus more on phone numbers. I'm just saying we're not there yet, but we're going to certainly keep building towards that. And Jeff, looks like you wanted to add to that, so please.
Yeah, no, Logan, I appreciate you saying that you're gonna follow up on that. And just to backstop it a little bit, I'm not at all unhappy with the results I'm getting with StreetText. And again, I'm a relative newbie. I'm coming out of the trial. I've been out for about a week, 2 weeks, but my results have been phenomenal. And so I'm not unhappy at all with the results, but I am always looking to tweak. And now that I've been part of the system for a couple of weeks, I see what I can work with and what I can't work with and what I need to work with. And I find that in this day and age, people are more liable to use text. It's less, it's just less pressure on them. So you're automatically capturing a phone number by generating a text from them with the address that they're requesting the evaluation for. So it's an alternative. It's not a replacement by any means. So yeah, it was a great discussion yesterday, and I appreciate you following through with any ideas you guys may have. But I'm kind of interested to see if anybody else feels the same way about a better way to capture phone numbers, and that being through text, through custom lead ads.
Yeah, and it looks like Zalman walked away here, and Adrian, looks like you had something to say as well. But real quick, I just wanted to mention. Oh, there he is. Now, for anybody who's never made my custom ad class, but is still interested, I mean, learning how to use the custom forms and stuff, you can figure that out, I'm sure. So if you haven't attended my class, one piece of advice I really try to impart on everybody is, again, regardless of what it is you're looking for that's outside of our templated spectrum, always have your anchor ad. Always build an ad that is within the specifications that we feel is working best, so that it's working. You're getting addresses, you're getting emails. Have that generating, again, in the fashion that we think is most appropriate, while testing everything that you want to test. If you have an ad, again, that's providing leads, and then you build an ad that is only allowing people to get through if they leave you name, number, and email and everything, I don't think it's going to work as well. But there's only one way to find out. And if you have the two ads running at the same time, you can then see dollar for dollar which one is bringing you in more of what you're looking for. And again, I feel that the one is going to bring in address and emails and phone numbers, and probably more phone numbers than the one that's only allowing you to bring in full complete leads. But it's the same thing as, why do we build 3 ads in a split test? You never know which one's going to take off. Why would you not build an ad perfectly to the specifications you're looking for and test it? Test at the same time as running one that's more in line with our the way we're looking for things. And if you're finding your test ad, your custom ad is giving you more of what you're looking for, great. Keep running that one and turn off the other one, right? But always have something running that's bringing you in leads, and never take your foot off that gas pedal, because as soon as you take time off and there's a lull, you'll really start to notice everything starts to slow down significantly. So again, test everything.
So last week I challenged.
Adrian had something she wanted to ask. She's been very patient there.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I came on board to Richard Silver, whom you all know, at least at StreetText, because you interviewed him. And he basically had sold me on the idea of listing generation. So my question to you today, and I haven't done it in StreetText, is how successful is building a campaign for buyers?
Very. Lots of successful ads. At the end of the day, it's not just giving them a list of properties under $299 with a pool in a blank area. It's really getting in there and personifying the follow-up to give them what they're really looking for.
So are there any differences in, for example, the area that you can cover on the buyer end?
Starts with the 15-mile minimum, but oftentimes buyers are going to be bigger. They're coming from outside the area or outside of even the states itself. So you want to test out the targeting a little bit differently. And again, the split test applies. When you look at all these funnel templates, you're wanting to split test audiences. So that means, conservatively speaking, whenever you launch one ad, you launch it 3 times. That's a split test. Right. A/B test is when you slightly change something. So everybody knows about this ad right here. If someone were to buy your home, would you sell it? Everybody starts with that in the trial. And it's still it's one of the best ads we have. But what people don't know is what I challenged everybody last week to do is an alternative. What's your home really worth? And essentially what that means is it's just a slight change. You're saying, what's your home really worth? Enter your address, receive your home value. The call to action is extremely clear. Mm-hmm. And it's really working well. And you can put it in whatever image you want. That's one thing. But I actually recommend, if you're truly looking for an A/B test, a lot of people don't know this, but inside of your settings section, there's a little area called assets. And assets holds all the pictures you've ever uploaded, including that map that you did for if someone were to buy your home, would you sell it? So the best thing to do is actually test that funnel with the map. If, basically it's the same text. It's this blue house down here that says, what's your home really worth? But you put in the map, enter your address, receive your home value. That's called an A/B test. You're slightly changing one variable, but you're split testing this template. 3 ads, 24 hours. I did this for Jennifer Salter the other day. And she was frustrated. She couldn't find ad performance, and it worked. And for everybody that's been trying it, it's worked. So your thought process is, if you're struggling with ad performance, you're not trying to find, you keep on doing the same thing over and over again. You got to go for the hunt. You got to try to beat the previous ad performance, and you'll find it. I know, Jeff, you found the Orange County picture to be phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got to go for the hunt. There's no one way that's going to guarantee that you're going to tap into this amazing lead flow. Sometimes you got to go for the hunt, and you got to keep on trying to beat the previous ad performance. If you're not willing to do that, then it's going to be frustrating for you.
Right.
And that's, yeah.
Marcus, quick question. Marcus, how would you run the, doing buyer leads? How would you, I know you mentioned you wouldn't probably do the 15-mile radius, obviously. What are your thoughts on that? How would you do that? How would you set that up?
Well, you could do the 15 miles. It's up to you. I mean, your buyers better than everybody. So I think probably if you guys are looking for full phone numbers, one of the buyer ads that I'm looking at right now would be, let's see here. You probably want to do some of the lead ads, because that goes straight to full lead capture. So anytime you see a lead ad like this buyer campaign right now, that's producing about a $3 phone number. You just click select, and you just type in, see all available Henderson, homes in Henderson with a pool or whatever, and then you just pull your image, and it's pretty straightforward. Anytime you see a lead ad, like on the end opposite side, that's going for the Facebook lead capture. That means you're going into the Facebook lead forms, you're capturing all their information up front. It's not a dynamic way like the, address, email, information about their home, time frame for selling, name, and phone number. In 4 layers, it's going straight up front for the phone number. And it seems to work a lot better for a buyer, because the buyer wants that information now.
Yeah, that's a great point. And there's 2 things I want to kind of mention on that. First one, relevancy. Second one, the style of follow-up for buyers. So right now on Facebook, with the holiday season, we're kind of full in it. Facebook, the way they look at it is they assess your ad relevancy when you do your first initial test. On that actually helps you get a certain amount of leeway when it comes to the bid cost. So if you notice right now, sometimes the ads are kind of fluctuating a little bit in cost when you're testing them. Once you have a relevancy, then it holds strong. So it outcompetes other ads in the area. The key there is to test the ads a little bit. The what's your home ad worth, or what's your home worth ad, that one seems to be really doing well with the relevancy right now. So if you're having a hard time breaking in, do that one. The buyer to seller one is another really strong one. The one that Marcus just showed is a good one. And then, so I just wanted to say that too. So really focus on just trying to get that relevancy first. Once you have a good, strong ad, then you can sort of test on above that. The other thing I want to mention is, so on the buyer follow-up, what's really cool about the buyers is that you're getting people that are going to be downloading a list. So let's say they're going to get a list of homes under a certain price range, or who knows, list of homes with swimming pools, a list of homes. You can kind of market it however you want to do it. But or you can do, say it's like a, holiday area. A lot of people, if they're like in ski locations, this is a great time to be marketing that. So you can get all these buyers, but then what you want to do is a week or 2 weeks after they've been on the list, you want to send a mass email to them, to everybody that's on your list, and basically just ask them, be like, hey, you've been on the list, you got this. Is there anything you want to tailor? Is there anything you want to do? Did you want 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms? Did you like the lot sizes? Were you looking for a townhome, or are you looking for something else? So what you're doing there is you're offering the opportunity to tailor their search to more of their criteria. People respond to that, and it starts a conversation really early on with buyers. So buyers, that's the way to start a conversation with buyers. And it works incredibly well. And, I've seen a lot of people on buyer side, they've double listed, double ended, like this. It's a really, it's a really clever, simple strategy to get more conversations with the buyers.
The other thing with the buyer's ad, Kevin, you were mentioning the 15-mile radius. I always tell everybody, forget about the 15-mile radius with the buyer's ad, because you're wanting to cast a very large net. You're looking for people that are looking to move into the area, not do a lateral move, right? So
Yeah,
especially right now, look at the trends for wherever you're living, because people are working remote. They're looking to move away from the big cities, go to someplace that's cheaper and more cost effective. So right now people are looking to move to Austin from the Bay Area and from LA. They're wanting to get out of there. Even the same, a lot of people in Chicago are looking to move to Austin. So if you know those trends, target those areas, right? You're going to pick up, it doesn't really matter where a buyer comes from, because you're not going to have to drive to their home. It's not like a seller where it's like, oh my gosh, I have to drive all the way across town to go see their home. A buyer, they can come from out of state, they can come even out of country, right? You could target Canada if you wanted to. So always think of that, and where they're coming from. If you know those trends, then target those. That's where you're going to pick up those people. Also, as well, amenities work really well. So if you're using one of the buyer ads, list out an amenity. Those people that are looking for a specific amenity are probably a lot more qualified, right? They're probably actively looking. That's why the listing ad also works so well, because when you're advertising a listing ad, people are looking at that and going, oh yeah, I really like this. And then it helps with that conversation later, because you'd be like, hey, tell me what you love most about this particular listing. Right?
Which of your buyer ads have funnels in them? How many of those have funnels you can have?
All of them except for the custom ads. And even with the custom ads, you could then in turn create everything that, with the custom ads, it comes with the majority of the funnel just doesn't have the automations in place yet, because obviously if you're using the custom lead forms to build a buyer's ad or a seller's ad, the conversation you're looking to have is going to be different and unique to that call to action, so that we can certainly help you with that. Now, regardless of whether you're building a custom ad entirely or you're just really looking to dial in your automations, that's something that I've been trying to also help with on that Tuesday ad class. So if you guys want to come to the custom ad class just to learn nothing more than automations and how to schedule things to different kinds of ads, it's something that I can focus on a little bit more next week too, if you guys want.
And the ad tweets class, Steve, you host the ad tweets class. Do you want to help people understand what that really is for?
Yeah, the ad tweaks class is more for not so much, it's almost like a bad name. It's not to tweak the ad. It's more to make sure that the ads are performing well. And if they're not, like, what other ads should we try? The custom ads class is definitely the one that Logan was referring to if you're trying to try something different or unique. I'm going to be working primarily with the funnels that we already have in the system, and then just more or less, working on those split tests, trying some of the different campaigns that you might not have tried. I definitely go through the buyer campaigns a lot too, though. There's some amazing, see, the nice thing about the buyer ads is that the buyer ads, you don't see as many in our funnels, but there's so many variations of what the buyer ads can be. And so I cover that a lot. So if you're looking for some buyer ideas or buyer ad ideas, I can definitely cover that a lot in there as well.
And remember, there's the buyer to seller conversion template as well. A lot of people forget, when you're working the top of the funnel, a lot of these buyers are already looking before they need to sell. Like, they'll tell you they actually have to sell before, and they want to know what's out there before they actually put their home on the market. And so you'll actually see buyers who actually want you to give a home evaluation as well. That's what we call it, the buyer to seller conversion template. We actually ask them within that funnel if they need to sell. It's pretty brilliant if you think about it. So if you leverage that and split test that properly, you could be getting sellers out of that buyer tool as well.
Right.
Okay, George, I know you've been waiting patiently to talk.
What's going on, everybody? So I noticed there's some new faces on here, some old faces, and all I have to tell everybody is I'm super excited because, again, it always happens to be on Wednesdays that either I can't make a meeting because I'm at a exploratory meeting through a StreetText lead and or working on StreetText leads. One, every newbie in here, if you don't have 3 hours per day, don't do StreetText. I joke when I say that, but if you want to do StreetText at a high level, like Marcus and Steven and Logan and everybody, the StreetText squad tries to tell you, you are going to have tremendous success. I'm telling you right now, I have a listing appointment tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the morning. Guy bought a house a year ago and he goes, hey, I'm ready to sell. I'm looking at the lead. Came in at 5:50 a.m. on August 26th. My automations, by the way, sucks. Marcus and Logan are helping me redo everything after COVID. But all I could say is right now, it's like bare bones. And the guy just called me today. Now, does that happen often? Nope. Probably 1 out of 150 leads, somebody actually picks up the phone. You got to be proactive instead of reactive. Somebody said, hey, I only want emails and phone numbers. Guess what? 2 out of 6 of my listings in the last year, which I've made over $80,000 with StreetText, okay, and I have 3,000 leads in my database, I'm telling you right now, were address only. One took one mailer to call me and take action, and the other one, I went to the listing appointment, he had 3 of them. So my thing now is I set up 5 mailers for address only. And I try, and what I do is by the 3rd time, use a third-party source. If nobody's giving you information, go out there and get the information. Like the system, there's truepeoplesearch.com. I use Forewarn right now. And by the way, that system is so lethal. I have Elon Musk's cell phone number right now, like CEO of TikTok, like people I really want to research, they can't hide from that system. So all I'm telling you is StreetText, look at it as your brain and your spine, and then use
what's that system you're calling that you're using for research? What's it called?
Called Forewarned.
Forewarned.
It is.
You'll know everything down to the criminal activity of your clients. You name it. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I had one of my clients tell me about that one, and there was some, I can't remember the full story, but he had gone to a couple showings and met some very sketchy individuals and lived in a very rural place. So began using that and was able to figure out the color of their last leased vehicle and things like that. So as creepy as that really sounds, for you in the hands of the right people, at least, it's a phenomenal tool.
So yeah, and I'm going to tell you from experience, I've been using Forewarn. They're very protective. Like just to sign up for it, it's $20 a month, unlimited inquiries. But it's just, I think, as important as HomeBot. HomeBot's great for the sellers and automation, which that guy was uploaded to HomeBot. He only got 1 valuation in order to take action and give me a call this morning. But the guy is he bought it for 1.1 million last year. He bought it really cheap when the market took a downswing. I'll probably be able to list it for 1.3, 1.4. And he's already telling me, George, I want to buy between 2 and 3 million. Just that one transaction, that'll be my monument, my showpiece for StreetText, high fives for everybody on the team once I close those. But all I could tell you is $80,000 in 12 months. And Marcus knows the first 3 months, I treated like StreetText as like nothing. I wasn't really pursuing it and everything else. Once you start diving in, that's when the magic happens. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's so expensive. It's $200-300 well, for the system. And then I got to spend money on ad spend. Dude, real estate, like Walmart does not give you a store with empty shelves and no products, right? Because they would be out of business. Same thing as being a professional real estate agent, realtor, whatever designation you swear by. I'm telling you, if you spend money, you will make money with StreetText. You got to keep your head down. Just work 3 hours a day. Don't discount address onlys. Don't be like, oh, I only got an email and not email phone number. I'm not trying to put you down when I say that. I'm just trying to tell you, any opportunity is a good opportunity. Don't flush them away. These opportunities, Zillow in my area, my zip code that I currently live in, $250 per lead. 10 to 12 leads for $2,500 a month. Have I ever spent money with Zillow? No, but they keep on calling me because now they're going after top producers, people in the top 1%, because they want to start converting over. All I'm telling you is StreetText for $1 to $2 leads. Some people are getting under $1 for a lead and $5 to $8 emails. Be happy, be excited, jump into it. Now, I'm not going to go off on any more tangents, but I wanted to share everybody something that I'm using as a conversion tool. It looks like a website when you click on it and you're on your desktop and everything else. I've been using, so it's called Get Card, and I put my affiliate link on there. You'll help me get my app for free next year. It's usually $150 a year. I check through 20 of these companies, and just like HomeBot, just like BombBomb, just like Calendly, I think this is going to be that other missing part to help conversions. Why? Because you're giving people just one piece of content. You're not just dragging them to your website that has tons of IDX feeds, tons of different pages. It's almost like a single property website, but it's a single agent website, all right, if you want to call it that. But it allows people, when you send it to them on a text or an email, they can, whatever device they're on, Android, Windows, or iPhone, it works. I love being an iPhone user. I suck, or I cringe every time that somebody has a green bubble on the other side. No offense to Android or Windows people. I love you guys too. But what I'm saying is this allows them, instead of having to take a screenshot, which you know they're not going to sit there, they don't have two phones, they're not going to juggle around to get your information. This gives them, so if you scroll down it, and I gave you my link, dude, I wanted to research because just like we stalk people, people stalk us. They Google us. Well, instead of them Googling us, and maybe, I'm not saying finding bad stuff, but finding stuff you don't want them to showcase your stuff, put your social media sites on there. I put one of my showpiece videos for Ask the Price for a community that I sell a ton of homes in. I put prices or pictures of my listings. I put a couple reviews. By the way, there's a couple grammar things on there. I've been so busy. They allow unlimited revisions. Their website, their portal, once you go in there, you can update it 360 times a year. They don't have a limit. So it's funny because the guy actually saw my name and he goes, oh, I've been following you on social media. He goes, hey, I rushed yours. It takes 5 to 7 days to get it. He sent it to me the next morning. And he's like, here you go. Tell me how you like it because I know you'll probably promote it. And I go, dude, I love it. I've been researching you guys for a while and now I finally took a step. So I'm telling you, just another tool. So it's usually $150 a year. They're on sale for 80 bucks. That's why I waited. I'm patient. I like to save money wherever I can. And I'm telling you, I think it's a game changer. So far, I've had tons of responses, people back and forth, but I've only been using it for 2 weeks. So they're going through, they're adding 7 more reviews for me. They're doing a couple grammar checks, and I'm going to add a couple TikTok links, a couple links to other social media outlets on there.
So George, do you still have your other website that you had for yourself as well?
Always have to have. So
Yeah. So you're just using that mainly to text clients.
Text or email them to give this final word. I use Messenger for a lot of my buyer leads, and I just say, here you go. And I send that instead of just sending my contact information, because that would give them the opportunity to sit back, God forbid they're bored, and click, and then maybe go to my website and sign up. Go to my Facebook, go to my Instagram. And also some agents come to me and they're like, oh, I don't have any of my social media stuff set up. Start today. Plant that seed now and just stick with it. Because if you give somebody your Facebook league and you haven't posted since September 2019, they're going to think you're dead or you went out of business.
They will.
So what is the name again you're talking about? I'm sorry, my voice. I'm kind of sick.
For the item, for the card, the new thing I wanted to share.
Yes.
So I'm posting the link again, and then so the cool thing about this, they allow you to get it for free. So once you freeze your price, so if you buy it at $150, then it's $150 a year.
Wendy's posting her affiliate link, so watch out, George. It's Wendy versus you.
You know, it's so fun.
I love it. And the cool thing is that I'm always out of cards. And when you meet someone, all I do is text that link to them and then they have everything. And I like that they have all my social media. So it is super cool and people love it. And, you know, nobody wants to touch anything these days because of COVID. So that's perfect. It's virtual business card. There you go.
Want to see a round of rock, paper, scissors between the two to see who gets to put it in the insider group. Only one link, right? Like.
So Troy, you just mentioned something that people are talking about. What's going on with this iMessage thing that you found out?
Well, so iMessage also uses, like, it can use your email address. So if you have an email address, no phone number, and you're on an Apple device, use iMessage, put their email in. If it shows up blue, that means you can actually text them, right? Because they're on the iMessage is like their own like Apple thing that connects into SMS, but it's also just for Apple users. So give it a try. I mean, you can, like, if you want to test it out, just use my address. I put it in there. And now I'm going to get a ton of text messages, but I'm a safe person to test it on, but it can be huge.
Try it on me too. marcuswillard@gmail.com.
Quick question on BombBomb real quick. When you're doing the call to action on the phone number.
Yeah.
Do you have to do something different on that? Not just you don't just put the phone number, right? Then you have to do something.
What do you mean different? There's the call to action. So you have the headline, which is, call me. And then there's a separate category where you put in that actual phone number.
Right, like when you finish a video real quick.
Exactly. Like for Wendy, hers is her messenger link, right? I want to really communicate one thing for you guys. When you're running ads on Facebook, you're showing up in the personal news feed of that Facebook user. So if we really think about this, why wouldn't we want to reconnect with them on Facebook personally? So everything in your automations, everything in your personal follow-up, if you really look at Facebook, and I've said this over and over again, as a CRM, and you're authentic with wanting to connect with them and helping them understand why you want to connect there, they're going to be spending more time on Facebook than any other place. And so if you could figure out why and how you're going to get that communication back on Facebook and on Messenger, like, I think for everybody that's I mean, I'm their coach. If you look at it, I modeled it from the very beginning. I wanted you to connect with me on Facebook, because outside of that, I would have been trying to tell you all about StreetText and the value. And, you probably, you're like, this guy's just trying to sell me, right? Until you connected with me on Facebook and saw that I was being authentic in my approach with you. And that's no different from your leads. Until they figure out that you're genuinely there to be a resource for them, they're always going to think you're just trying to solicit their business. And so you have to craft and create automations and personal follow-up that really authentically communicates that. And until you do, you're going to find it's just going to be a struggle, and you're going to get lucky here and there.
Yeah, it's about building trust, and it's the ABCs. It's just building trust, building trust, building trust. When somebody comes in and they're meeting you for the first time, it's like any kind of social interaction you can possibly imagine. Somebody shows up for the first time, nobody knows who they are. They show up again. They're the same person every time you meet them. Guess what happens? You build trust with that person. It's the same thing when you're meeting somebody online for the first time. They have a lot of questions. There's a reason that they submitted that inquiry. But one of the questions they have that they're not asking, they're not telling you they're asking, is, can I trust this person with this decision? Can I trust this person? Can I ask this person this question that I have, and can I trust them to help me navigate this home search? And the answer is yes, of course you can. But they just need to know that they can trust you. And so sometimes it takes a person a long time for them to build that trust. That's where the email drips and the different kinds of things help build that trust. BombBomb helps build that trust. Connecting them on Facebook helps build that trust. But then the other component is just, how are you introducing yourself in the beginning? How are you reaching out? Are you reaching out by asking questions? Are you reaching out by trying to get to know them? Because a person can, that trust can be sped up really fast. And so it's just ABCs, always be building trust the whole time. It's about building trust, and then asking yourself, okay, if they're not submitting their phone number, why? Okay, well, they probably, if I'm trying to force them now to submit their phone number, are they going to submit a real phone number? If I'm trying to kind of get them to do a certain thing my way, is that really serving them? Is that really helping them understand what it is that they need to go through to, buy or sell their next home? And so always be building trust, always starting with value first, build trust, and then guess what happens? Every result that you want is there on the other end of that side. So, right now it is the last day of September. We got October, November, December coming right in front. I always try to bring it back. Like this is, you know, the end of the year. What you do now counts. What you do now counts because it matters for the rest of the year. But you know what? It's building a wave of momentum that will really rocket you in the beginning of next year. So when I see people say like, you know, I was doing follow-up, but I put it on pause because I got busy. I'm like, that's totally normal. That's fine. That's where you want great automations running for those really busy seasons when you get there. That's normal. That happens to everybody. But remember that when you're riding a wave, sometimes you got to keep paddling to stay on top of that wave. Sometimes you got to, because if you kind of stop paddling, that wave of momentum is so fun to ride. When you get like listing, you know, buyer, like that is such a fun experience. Like boom, everything's rocking. You know, just keep focused on the ABCs. Always be building trust, do your follow-up, prioritize your day. And this is where a community like this is so great because it just kind of keeps us all accountable. It reminds us of what really matters. And then when we go out and we do those things, the fruit of that labor shows up. So it's just, yeah, I encourage you, keep doing that. Build trust, focus on the other person's need. And, you know, everything that you want from this will show up as a result.
John, you talked about,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for George. I believe it looks like you are located in San Francisco, which is close to where I'm at. The question I have is for the listings. I'm sorry.
I want to go visit the Golden Gate Bridge. That's why I have it. I'm actually on the
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Whenever you come, let me know then.
Okay, sounds good.
So what I'm saying is that what do you normally do? So I'm getting a lot of leads without phone number, and a lot of times the emails are not even good. They bounce. So you do have the address and all that kind of stuff. What do you do at that case? Do you send a postcard, or you actually go to that address and find out exactly what may be asking for? What do you do?
So before COVID, I actually was on a regimen of trying to knock on 3 to 5 doors and seeing which routes would be towards my appointments and doing that. It's kind of crazy because I didn't have the best results, but I only did it for 2 or 3 weeks consistent. Then I got super busy, stopped doing it. So there's tons of different angles that you could take. One, Marcus, the king of social media and Facebook, friend the people on Facebook, stalk them, look their records up, find them, friend them. But don't friend them and say, hi, with that commission breath, I want to sell your home. Engage with them like a normal person. Gary Vaynerchuk, jab, 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 right hook. Do the same thing. Be like, hey, nice to meet you, everything else. They might not even know that they clicked on your website, on your StreetText Facebook lead and who you are. But just say, hey, I noticed that we have some people in the same network or we know similar people. I just wanted to reach out to you, tell you hi, reach out. Don't even say that you're a real estate agent in the first conversation. Bring it up in the second conversation or allow them to ask you the question. But then, you know, there's so many different angles. You can send personalized handwritten letters. There's a website that everybody uses. It's $1.50 a card. I used another one that was $3 a card. Stopped doing that. But $1 a card, and it pretends that it's a handwritten card from you. Postage is included. So just do that because you just paid $1.50 for an address only lead. Spend $5 more. Spend $6 more. That's it.
Right, George, everybody needs to humanize us for themselves. Until you see them as a real person, and you have to go look for them. It's not Facebook stalking if you're looking to create an authentic connection. If you have an address only, maybe it's just to clarify, hey, are you the registered owner of this home? It could be a potential buyer, you can let them know. It could be a renter of the home. I'm just here to get that home value that was requested from this address. Now, secondly, an idea that came to me is you're going to be sending, so if you friend request, or you find them on Facebook using the advanced search, and then you friend request them, always follow up with a message. Friend request followed by a message. And ideally you send a video message because that's why you use BombBomb. And then with that, if you have an email, reinforce that in your follow-up where you're trying to get that connection, that there's a message sitting in their message request folder. And if you use screen recording, you can show them where. Even with your mailers, you could really go after, check your message request folder. I friend requested you. Because if you really make an effort to find everybody on Facebook, and it's a percentage game, it's not like you're going to find everybody, but hey, who's to say you can't find somebody who it wasn't them, and all of a sudden you create a conversation. So Facebook is ultimately your CRM, and as soon as you start using this and putting people into friends list, you're going to have your own pipelines developed in there. And Messenger is the end game because you know when they're home, you can track when they've seen messages. That's the key. It is absolutely the best CRM you have available if you learn how to use it that way. And I think, that's going to be the challenge for all of you, is how to mix that personal and business life and be somebody who is, like I borrow this from my wife, who is raw, who's real, and relatable. Because that's the connection piece. The know and like always begins before the trust. Know, like, then trust.
Marcus, can I ask a question about, and pardon my ignorance, because social media is, as Logan knows, I'm just starting to get really into all of this and I'm learning all the tools. In my personal, I'm just wondering, could you have two personal Facebook, or because I have friends and I have things that I don't necessarily want clients to see. And so that's where I'm getting a little bit antsy, because I don't
ways around it.
I have the business page, but my personal is my personal. So
okay, I'm gonna jump in on this one here quick, Marcus. So Marcus is great at this. Like he's very transparent. I think we're all very transparent. You are a real person, right? And when you're meeting with your clients, obviously you're professional. You're professional. But at the same time, when you're connecting with someone on your personal page on Facebook, because you are a real person, people resonate with that. People resonate with who you are. When they see you, share a personal memory or a personal experience, that makes them like you and know you and trust you that much more. So they're not just starting to follow you as a business person, they're following you as a person. I'll give you a great example. Like, there's this agent in my local market named Sean Worsfold. He's awesome. Like, he's on social media. He adds everybody, he's friends with everybody. He's very real. He's very authentic. He talks about the stuff that matters to him. But I also see him share about, like, when he has an experience with somebody and he's proud of them buying that home or working with them or listing a home, you name it. He shares it on Facebook too. And my wife came to me and she said, the next time we buy our home, I want to work with him. And that's because she's on his Facebook page too. So it's, when you have somebody on your Facebook page, it's a way where you get to build, like, people get to know you. So if you feel like it's too personal, that's fine. That's a judgment call. But at the same time, know that people do like to see who you really are. And when they can see who you really are, and when they, you know what I mean? Like when, I
don't know about that. You haven't seen my Facebook. No, it's not
but
that.
It's your call. It's your call. I mean, in other ways, you could create a second Facebook. You can always do that. Some people do have two Facebooks, and you can create a personal one and a private one.
Or you can segment your Facebook to where all the people that you want to have those type of posts for, you put them in a list and only they will see.
Yeah, so that's the other way you can do it, is you can create lists that is just for friends and family, and you can make posts that only your friends and family are then shown by Facebook. And that's a really simple way of doing it too.
And there's a tutorial.
I wanted to add. Sorry, go ahead, Sophie.
So is there a tutorial on how to do that, or? Because I honestly wouldn't know how to do that.
Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, we always go over those type of
Thursdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's Calendly.
Okay.
The conversion.
I'll get you the link to that course. And Steve, you had something you wanted to add about that as well, because there's something I wanted to add a little bit as well, but I think you had your hand up there.
I was just going to mention that you can segment it, and then there is Keller Williams agent that has a whole program that shows you how to run Facebook and how to segment it. That I can, Sophie, if you just throw your email in or just private message me your email, I'll give him your link, and you can talk to him. He's got the whole little plan how to do it, right? So
that's awesome. Thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah, and I'll add for myself my own personal experience. Marcus and I are very similar in many different ways. We're very different in other ways. I'm very reserved on social media. I don't post anything. Marcus is Mr. Social Media, and he does really well on there, right? I mean, and he's always promoting stuff, and it's the antithesis of me. I went the other direction as well, in that I have two personal pages. I have one that is my personal page for my close friends and family. Then I have a personal page that I use for business purposes. Originally, I really liked that. I liked having that separation. It worked really well for me early on. The more I realized the power of Facebook, though, the more I realized the error of my ways, because the things that I want my clients to see aren't supposed to be prepackaged and for business all the time. My real personal life should be something that I'm promoting because I'm a family man. I have a wife and a kid, and it may not be business, but people again want to see you guys as real people. And one thing that I've personally not done, which I should have been doing, is whenever I go on a camping trip with my family or something, I'm posting on my personal page, but not my other one. And I've kind of forgotten about the other one where a lot of you guys should be seeing me and stuff like that. So I feel that having two personal pages, it helps in your own internal thoughts, but it really doesn't help externally. And I really do believe that, again, unless you have something to hide, which I don't think most of us do, you really should just kind of have it as one place where, you're expressing your own viewpoints and stuff. Of course, when it comes to politics and things of that nature, gets a little dicey, which is, again,
Sport
sometimes
teams, you name it. Yeah.
Right? Which is why sometimes I do like having my other page, because somebody will post something that I'm like, ooh, I can respond to that now. Right? So sometimes it's got some benefits, but again, personally, I will say that could I go back and not can I diverged my two pages and just kept them one? I think I'd be happier with the end game of it all. So
yeah, and to remember what George said is people are researching you, and they are researching you on Facebook. And if they find your business page on Facebook, guess what's right below your business page? Your personal account. So they're going to click both of those. So if they, I think that you just know that the people are looking, and that's okay. You're doing business now. You're getting clients now. It hasn't scared anyone else away yet, and so it's okay. And there's nothing wrong. Like, actually, one thing I should actually say as a tip here is if you live in a community that you really like a neighborhood, you should create a Facebook neighborhood group if you haven't already. Invite all of your friends and everybody in your neighborhood to that Facebook group. That's a great way for you to engage with people as well, and build if there's an area in the market where you're like, I really want to focus on that, create a neighborhood Facebook group. Do that, invite everybody to it. But remember, people are always researching you. So it's like, the more you get comfortable with that, the more opportunities are available to really do things like creating a Facebook neighborhood group. It's, and if there is a part where you're like, I actually don't feel so comfortable, that's okay too. Sometimes it's like, well, maybe it's okay with shifting some of the things I say online, because, what we say affects our mind. What we do affects our mind. And so, that's something that's really important to remember as well. I heard something really cool. I was reading National Geographic, and there's this thing they do in Scandinavian countries. I think it's like Luftstaffen, something like that. It's a weird name, and they go for walks. They even have a word because of all about walks that for drinking beer in the cold. It's like there's a specific word, and there's this lady who's from New Jersey, and she moves to Sweden, and she said, it's funny, being from New Jersey, I hated the cold, but being in Sweden, they have such a positive way of talking about cold weather that I found myself, even something simple, like I would look at the snow and I'd say, actually, the snow is really beautiful. She said, as soon as I spoke those words, my mind shifted, and I actually started to view the winter in a different way. And I think there's something really positive about, even ourselves, like how we engage with the community online on Facebook. It shifts how we think about things, and sometimes that positive, it goes into other areas, because all of a sudden it's like, well, I feel positive, I'm going to go follow up with these leads. Oh, I feel positive, I'm going to go call my friends I haven't connected to in a while. I feel positive, I'm going to go reach out and just see if anybody in my neighborhood knows somebody who's looking to buy or sell. So it's like that positivity fuels the activities that we really want, like the positive behaviors, which is connecting with other people, which is really the heart of real estate. And it's the right frame of mind. So I think if you, it's a great question. I mean, it's a deep question, but it's a great one.
I think for some people, evolving Facebook takes a little bit time, and it's because Facebook has been around for a while, and in the beginning, I know for me, I've evolved on Facebook. When I first started using it, I was just posting photos or memes or news stories or politics. And then over time, as I became a business person, it evolved into a business tool. And sometimes that takes a little time but it's taken me at least 2 years. And I'm about to go back and sort of delete all my stupid posts and make it into a proper business tool. And now I have, proper good posts on there where people actually went through my posts. They'd get to know me from my posts instead of just, things that are irrelevant. So I definitely agree with everything that's being said.
I really like what you said there as well, Zalman, in that you can go back. And I mean, what's true, what your parents have kind of always told you is, you know, what you do online lives there forever. It is true to a point, but you do have the ability to go through and delete things and hide them from your own timeline. And I've done that myself. I've gone through my own timeline from, 2 or 3 years ago and gone like, whoa, I can't believe I posted that. Right. So you get in there and curate it, clean it up, make it so you may not start with exactly what you would want your clients to see, but very much like we recommend, click on the view your ad, go through the funnel process, figure out what emails and text messages are being sent so that you know what your clients are seeing. Do the same with your Facebook page. Log in, and you can even log in and view it as another person, right? So you have the ability when you go to your page to view it as somebody else who isn't your friend yet, so you can see what they see and just go through it and say, okay, this is somebody with fresh eyes who I've not had an opportunity to meet and build a relationship with yet. How are they going to perceive me based on what I'm posting? And again, if you're in there and everything is one-sided in terms of politics, well, unfortunately, 50% of every area we live in have a different idea of politics than we do. So maybe regardless, I mean, if you want to take a hard stance on that, hey, it's your prerogative. If you want to use this as a business tool, probably not the best topic to be constantly posting. So again, use it. It's your page. Use it in the way that you want, but go through it and say, okay, somebody who doesn't know me, how are they going to perceive me as an individual and maybe as a realtor if they just simply go through my business page and my personal page? And like George had also mentioned, how are they seeing you, right? And it's very important. Just go through these things and get a really good feel for that.
The other thing to know is that your posts, they eventually get buried. Like even going back 3-4 years, nobody's going to see that. Like they're not going to go through your timeline and go, well, what did you post 3-4 years ago, right? They're only going to see like the last week, maybe 2 weeks of that. If
I disagree with that big time. I think people absolutely are going to look through people's Facebook posts because they want to know who they are working with, especially if they're considering working with you. I've spent 20 minutes looking through people's stories before working with them or looking through their wall. And people absolutely look through stuff. And I've had people like stuff from 3 years ago on my page. It happens all the time. So I think looking back and purging stuff that you don't belong on your Facebook is absolutely necessary.
Also the real you, right? At the end of the day, if someone doesn't follow me or like me because of what I posted, then that's not the person I probably want in my life anyways. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna try to hide anything. But what I want to challenge you all to is, if you look at Wendy, she's personified, she's added 3 additional emails to her first 12 days, maybe 4. So the key is you have these email templates in there. You can go and edit. You could actually add an email. So you can add an email for every day if you wanted to. It's actually that easy to do. And as long as, because you never know which one they're going to get, which one they're going to really like, which one's going to connect with them. As long as it's genuine and you're truly being a resource to the community, you're going to, that's why it's there. And then again, always reinforcing that you created an email that has a call to action. You're wanting them to connect with you. Where you want them to connect with you, that's up to you. But that's like, if I was personally doing it, I would always want to be connecting back to where I know they will get to know me. So it's entirely up to you with how you want to do it. But if you have the call to action, you have the video, a little bit of text context on top and the bottom, and then the call to action, that in itself is the true automation you want to look for. It's got to feel natural. And so I challenge you guys to post that in the insider group and just let's encourage one another, because that's where it's going to really shine for you. And try to get that conversation back to Facebook when possible.
Marcus, quick question for you there, because I've been following Wendy and I understand what she's done, and unfortunately I'm starting to realize there's a lot of groundwork. Being a newbie, there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be set into place to get the system going correctly. Now, with regards to StreetText automation, the only ones that are being captured are actually the ones that are leaving contact information, correct?
At least an email, right?
So an address only is not going to be processed through the automation, which leads me to believe, and tell me whether I'm wrong, that maybe using my own CRM for all my StreetText leads would be more productive than trying to reinvent the wheel with the StreetText automation that only applies to 30 to 40% of the captured leads.
Well, I mean, John, you would know more on that one, because you can turn any one of those address onlys into a contact if you can find more information. Right, John?
Yeah, it's a big if, Marcus.
Totally depends on your preferred workflow. I'm a big proponent of work smarter, not harder. So if you've got systems set up, use those, leverage those. If you if you find that StreetText has got more stuff set up ready to go, then use that, leverage that. Like, it work smarter, not harder.
Well, my question, I guess, Jonathan, is I would have to manually, I can't even manually input address only into the StreetText automation. So it's pretty much rendered useless on address only leads.
Yeah, and with address only, so you can use some tools like Forewarn or the other ones maybe to do some research, find out who they are. But you can also look at your property, like tax records. You can look at MLS. You can do a lot of things. You can do research to find out who they are.
Right, but can you then go back and incorporate them in the automation? You can't do that, right?
You'd have to trigger it manually. So you'd need to create a form and then pop them in, which you could do. You could do that, but yeah, you could actually have them just go through it again.
What I do for my address onlys is I do put them in Follow Up Boss, which is my CRM. And then if they convert and I get an email or a phone number, I add that into there. And I actually made a funnel, kind of like StreetText in Follow Up Boss just for those. So then if I get an email, I put them on the system, they immediately get that email, and then I do the video CMA and it goes on from there. So I kind of just copied those, and I know it takes work, but 90% of them, I don't know why you said 40, 90% of them are in the StreetText funnel. So I only have very few that are going into the Follow Up Boss.
So you're getting 90, you're getting only 10% are address only?
Yeah, so, but the thing is, we send out the postcards, and if they convert, which they'll say it, we would put that in Follow Up Boss, sent address only postcard. And then if they come back and they enter their stuff back into StreetText, we'll see, oh, and I've only gotten probably 7 or 8 that responded back from the postcards that went back in there and put their stuff in.
So Wendy, what is the ratio of your address only as compared to those leads that are providing email and or phone number?
Most of ours are email. Most of ours get emails.
Sounds like your address is off, Jeff. And the way to improve that, so if you have exactly what you're describing, run another split test. Because what's happened is Facebook has targeted a certain behavioral group that they're looking at, a certain attributes of these people that are taking behavior that are bringing you more address onlys. If you run another split test, you can actually improve the quality of submissions that you get, because you could say, okay, this ad's performing great, but it's way too many address onlys compared to email addresses. I want more email addresses. Create another split test, and then you can see, okay, now I can increase the number of people that are submitting that are giving me email addresses, what you really are wanting, and then phone numbers as well.
Yeah, that's great advice, Jonathan. I appreciate that. It's tough weaning off of an ad that is very successful.
Keep it running. Don't wean it off. So it's always meet or beat. So you keep your best running. Don't ever turn the best one off, and then create a new split test and try to beat it. If you can beat it, you got a winner. If you can't beat it, just keep it running. Because it's honestly, like, address onlys are still great. Like, it's still a lot of deals come from them. It's just, you want to, just try to beat it.
Great. Thank you.
All right, guys. It's that time. We'll let you go. So take all this awesome energy back into the insider group. Take one thing, put it back into your system, and meet with, send a message to your coach. We'll hold you accountable for that. I want to work with you guys on the conversion side of this. So if you can, show up to the conversion workshop Tuesday or Thursday, and then come to the ad tweaks class or the custom ads class is another opportunity. Sound good? See you next Wednesday.